Hello, and welcome to Wine and Reason with Julie LaVoice and Junk Shop Library. Hi, everybody. Tonight, we are looking at the question, do Christians lie? Because this is something that I hear a lot from my fellow atheists, and I'm not attacking anyone by any means. I love y'all. You're an incredibly supportive community, and but it's something that's kind of been in my head, and I've asked a lot of folks, what they think, if they think about, do specific Christians lie? We've talked about Christians who make their money, like they're living from being professional Christians and things like that. Hey, Paul, good to see you.
Welcome.
You are always welcome here, sir. So we've been wondering about, like, do Christians lie? And I want to take the position that, and I also realize this is anecdotal evidence only. This is not a great poll. This is not a huge sample size. But my entire family is quite religious. And even those who aren't necessarily full-on practicing religious, they would still likely identify on a census or such as, as religious of one denomination or another, like one Christian denomination or another, if I'm being frank. So what I've noticed about them is that they aren't lying, even when they make really weird arguments that seem, like the watchmaker argument, or the, God forbid, the what if you're wrong?
Pascal's wager.
Pascal's wager, yeah. All of that, or I even had a dear person who loves me very much, and whom I love very much, come to me with, hey, we don't know what dark matter and dark energy are, so maybe there's room for God there. I mean, that's a classic God of the gaps argument, right? But, at the same time, this person was not lying to me. This person truly had a deep conviction about what they felt. So I guess my question to you and to you is,
Sorry, I forgot to share on Discord. I'm trying to figure out.
Oh, that's all right. Is, are Christians lying? And in my experience, my personal experience, they are not. They are people with deep convictions, and they actually believe these things. Now, whether or not they've questioned those beliefs seriously, vary from person to person. And how seriously they've questioned them varies from person to person. I know lots of Christians who've
Hi, Angie.
Hey,
Hello.
Angie, we love you. Who have gone through many paths to get to where they are now, and they actually, a lot of their stories are similar to those of us who identify as atheists, to those of us who have decided or realized, hey, Stuttering Chris, love you, man, who have realized to our satisfaction that we really don't think gods and goddesses exist, or that God exists, whatever God that might be. So whether it's a prime mover, whether it's the Christian God, whether it's Allah, whether it is Yahweh, any of those things, they don't, or Zeus, or the Horned One, or Athena. A lot of us have come to the conclusions that, we don't think they're out there, and for reasons abiding to those various deities. Hey, godless scummers in the house. What?
Right.
Sorry, we did a stream together earlier today, so I felt the need. Hey, man, good to see you. So yeah, so our basic question tonight is, are Christians lying? Because I hear this a lot, and as I said, and this is the last time I'm going to do this little intro and repeat myself, but as I've said, like, in my experience, the Christians I personally know are not. They're not lying. They're coming from a place of conviction. Whether or not those ideas are there for good reasons or bad reasons, this is what they believe. And we've all, I think, talked about, how we don't necessarily choose our own beliefs. I know a lot of us, and a lot of people in the chat right now would never have chosen to be atheists. I remember very distinctly the first time I met someone who said he was an atheist. I asked him what his religion was, because I was raised in a very religious family and in a religious, small town. And when he said atheist, I literally took a step back. Now, luckily for me, I was a kid, so I got away with it and he was older. He was an older teen. He was like 17, and I was in like 6th grade. So luckily he was not horribly offended. He looked mildly miffed, but he wasn't offended. And but he was also the really cool 17-year-old who did plays with us at our community theater. So I asked him like what that was, and he said, well, I just don't believe in God. And I was like, oh, and I was terrified. And I wasn't terrified of him. I was terrified for him, because all I knew at that point was that if he didn't believe in God, he was damned, right? So I was absolutely terrified. But at the same time, he was so nice. And let's face it, really fucking cute. And I'm not going to lie. I was in 6th grade. I knew nothing,
I understand.
I knew it was inappropriate, but I was enough of an adolescent to be allowed to have a crush on an older boy, knowing full well it wouldn't go anywhere. Mm-hmm. And he was damn cute and a really good actor. And so I didn't see him as evil or menacing or bad in any way. And that was my first experience with meeting an atheist. So, and I think, frankly, before me, many members of my own family had not met an atheist, and I only realized I was an atheist 2 years ago. So yeah, so this is the question. So when I hear Christians say when I hear atheists say, our folks say, that Christians are lying when they make assertions about their faith,
to them, lying to themselves or lying to others.
Right. It depends.
I'm going to interject real quick.
Please.
This topic has come up in several conversations and several streams that we've had today.
Yeah.
And we kind of had a lot to say about it. And so we said, oh, what the hell? It's Friday night. We're under quarantine. We'll do a stream about it. Like you do. So here we are. I'm sorry.
No, that was excellent. And yeah, so that's why we decided to talk to you.
Stuttering Chris, you are so full of shit.
I love you, darling.
He says having a crush is a sin.
Oh,
I disagree with you on doctrinal grounds, and I have the texts to back it up. Meet me in person, motherfucker.
Chris, he is a preacher's kid, so just tread carefully. Just saying. He's got shit to back that up. Anyway, no,
Chris
no, I know we are. Chris is doing. This is what I think is happening, and I love it. And
he's doing the Lord's work.
He is. And Chris, you don't have to correct me on this. You do you. I think Chris is doing a Stephen Colbert from the Colbert Report thing. That's what I think is happening right now with studying Chris. So just throwing that out there as food for thought, and I'm going to move on. That's my theory. Okay. It's my hypothesis, because it's not a fucking theory. Thank you, darling. Thank you. Sorry, we also had some issues with family members not understanding what the scientific method was earlier, so I actually made a diagram. Anyway,
this is true. She did.
I did. Haven't shown it to them yet, but I did. Okay, so are Christians lying? Well, honestly, I think your general, like, going to church, praying Christians, like folks who haven't read the Bible cover to cover necessarily, but who've been raised in that culture and who believe it, I don't think they are. I really don't. That's my assertion. My assertion is that most Christians are not lying.
Angie brought up a similar point a little earlier.
Thank you.
Where she said, I don't think the sheep are lying, but most of the shepherds know that it's bullshit.
Okay. Now, that is an interesting point for several reasons. I'm going to, and I want you to talk about this.
Oh, I'm going to talk about this.
Excellent.
Never you fear.
Thank you, my darling. Okay, so my thoughts on that are, yes, like, what about, the humble I don't get paid shit for this and I'm supposed to support my family on it, minister, or the megachurch preacher, or the televangelist. I think those are three huge differentiating, escalating tiers. And then we also have the clergy project. We've got people who have realized, I hung my hat in the wrong house. I don't believe this anymore, but I don't have any. I went to theology school. I have no other way of making a living. What do I do? So now I will hand it over to you to discuss that bit, because I want to, you have you have more knowledge of that bit.
All right. Well, I would say sometimes it's easier than others to tell who's full of shit. We've mentioned this isn't a stream for children, yes?
Oh,
if
yeah.
not, we
No.
should already have done. We drink, we smoke, we talk about religion, God help us, and we cuss.
Yes,
so
we do.
If y'all chillins, y'all need to get y'all chillins butt out of here.
If you are under 18, you need to get the fuck out of the room right now. Okay, good. That usually does it. I mean, surely if that didn't do it for them, if their parents are awake.
If that didn't do it, they're going to stick around regardless, because they're 16 or 17 the same way I was 16 or 17.
Yeah.
And while legally I can't condone that,
I cannot, no. All right, well then, in that case, I have a couple of other things to say. This is fucking stupid. And if you are my age or older, I'm not talking to you, all right? But if you're a kid smoking tobacco, fucking stupid. Don't do it. Don't start doing it. You know, I will track you down and smack you upside the back of it. Well, no, I won't, because that's a threat of violence. And I've threatened my nieces and nephews with that, and I've never once did it, even when one of them smoked. But that one quit because his girlfriend wouldn't kiss him if he smoked. So, yay.
Oh, Paul brings up a good point. We should set it up so we can invite guests on.
Oh, my word. Yes, we should.
He says he'd love to talk about this on our show instead of texting.
Oh.
If I can ever wrap my head around a sufficient portion of the technology, trust me, I'll be having guests on. I think that you mentioned that the other day when you were talking to me, and I think that'd be a great branch out from what I usually do. And I think our conversational streams, these couple streams that we do, might really benefit from that.
I'm making a note, Paul, on my chart. I'm making a note. Okay. No, we will learn how to do that, sir, because that is doable. Learn how to bring guests on. Also, my god brother hopefully will be in the chat tonight. I don't know. I don't know if he got my message. I'm really hoping, but Jason, I'm not going to say your last name. If you're out there, man, come on. We've known each other our whole lives. I wanted you in here for this. That's why I sent you the PM on Facebook, but he might not have seen it. Okay. So learn how to invite guests. By the way, God brothers, if any of you lawless Protestants, that's my way of just fucking with you. I'm just kidding. Anyway, y'all know.
Sorry, that didn't have the same ring to it without my prop. Let me try that again.
Try that again. You want to look at? All right. Oh, there it is. There it is. God, your eyes are pretty. I'm sorry, it takes all the thread out of it. His eyes are so pretty. Okay, anywho, yeah, so I was just teasing with the Protestant thing. But I was raised Catholic, and so when I say God brother, that's a misnomer. That's not an actual, if you don't know, that's not an actual like Catholic thing. It's just that.
Hi, Maya. Welcome.
Maya, hey, darling, I love you. I love all of you, but hey, Maya Atkinson, so cool to see you. Yeah, but anyway, my god brother is not an official thing. It's just that his mom and my mom have been best friends since they were like 12 or 14 years old or something, and they're in their 70s now and they're still best friends, and he and I were raised together pretty much. I had my own room. His mom is my godmother, and I had my own room at their house when I was growing up, so for the summers. So it's, we're really tight.
Thank you, Paul. Paul says the new light is working great. We're still working out
thank you.
some of the interesting kinks that it has, but yeah, I'm very pleased with it so far. As always, special thanks to Wonder Lady Faye for bringing this particular model to my attention.
Yes, Wonder Lady Faye, absolutely. And also, thank you for finding this setting because it doesn't blind me nor make my eyes hurt.
This is true.
It's fantastic. Okay.
And thank you, Paul, for making it possible.
Yes, thank you, Paul, for making it possible.
We love you, Paul. Thank you.
We really do very much. Okay.
All right. So, sorry, let me loop back around to a topic while I'm thinking about it.
Yeah.
Because we'll loop back around to every topic. Y'all know us well enough by now to know that we'll loop back around to every topic at least twice, if not more.
And we will try to keep up with what y'all are saying as well.
I think there are, as Angie said, there are certain of the shepherds. Y'all pardon me. It is allergy season, and the oak trees hate my nose.
They do. They hate all of us too.
No, I don't need anything. It just itches like Billy O.
Just in case.
There are certain of the shepherds that I think get into the business honestly and stay in the business honestly and retire from the business honestly.
Agreed.
I think there are some of the shepherds who get into it for the wrong reason and stay in it for the wrong reason and don't have a dignified way to get out. And I'm not going to give any examples of that. And I don't know enough about Jim Bakker's early career to say why I think he got into the business, but you know good and goddamn well that Jim motherfucking Bakker is a dishonest actor at this point. No one who believes he is called of God to do the work of his Father in heaven on behalf of Father's children on earth is encouraging them to drink a solution of colloidal silver as a solution, as a cure for a deadly virus. Well, that man is a charlatan.
Yeah, he's a snake oil salesman, while at the same time saying that folks like us are baby killers because we're pro-choice.
Yeah.
You know, because infanticide is the same thing as a medical procedure. Sure.
Oh, yeah, and Angie says I can agree with that, but so many do it for the easy money. It's a show. It's entertainment.
Yes, ma'am.
A lot of the megachurch pastors, I think, really do just get into it because they're not quite good enough to go into actual legit show business.
Oh, I have a story.
I think, give me just one moment before his name runs away from my face. Joel Osteen, I don't think there's a chance in hell that Patrick Bateman looking motherfucker is in it for the reality of his flock's health or the reality of his relationship with his God. I truly and deeply believe that Joel Osteen is just in because he likes to be able to afford that much teeth whitener, and he likes the fancy duds, and he likes being out there under the Klieg lights, and he likes prancing around. And at one level, I can respect that. I, too, like the fancy duds. I, too, would like to be able to afford that much tooth whitener, and I, too, like prancing around under the Klieg lights. But I don't like it enough to try to snooker boo-koodles of people out of their hard-earned money, you know, past the point of a theater ticket.
Yeah. Barnum said there's a sucker born every minute, but you give me a good show, I'll pay for it.
There's a sucker born every minute, but that doesn't mean you have to bleed them motherfuckers dry.
Thank you. And also, don't pin my eternal salvation as if that were even a thing on it. That's where it gets nasty and vile.
Stuttering Chris points out, a rich man can't get into heaven, but a rich man who believes in Jesus can get into heaven. Exactly.
Apparently.
You can't squeeze through that needle's eye unless you got Jesus riding pickaback.
That was lovely.
And Kenneth Copeland, same. I agree with you. Jeff? Yeah, I'm sorry, Godless Scummer.
Godless Scummer, yeah.
Yes.
Yes, Kenneth Copeland is the same.
Is
Agreed.
another grift. I agree. I think he's full of crap.
And actually, what I learned from Godless Scummer and some of our other friends today was, I was wondering if Eric Hovind was more sincere than his father.
Oh, I'm sorry, real
Oh no,
quick,
please go
because
ahead.
I know you've got this whole thing about.
Oh, it's not
about
a whole thing.
Hovind Jr. and Senior. But
It's
Paul,
much shorter now.
but Paul points out he once met an atheist priest. He said, it's easy. I just have to convince them idiots, pointing to the church, that they don't believe enough so they come back next week.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
That's fucking brutal.
Hey, Paul, how drunk was he when you got him to admit that?
Oh my gosh, that's as mercenary as it comes.
That would break
that's
Paul,
almost admirable.
Yeah, it is. The candor
and the dedication to the grift. I mean,
seriously,
my Lord in heaven,
Jesus
that's some
Christ.
leverage level grifting.
I can't be that fucking dishonest. It all shows on my face. So, damn, that would break my mother's heart. Just to know a priest out there existed that was like that. Okay, not the point.
I'm sorry, Hovind's, Jr.
Yeah,
and Senior.
okay. Well,
I love this bit that you do.
Oh, okay, you love this bit? All right, well, okay, so here's the thing. Kent Hovind is not only a vile cunt, but he's a law-breaking and ex-convict.
Inmate number 0645-2017.
Goddamn, I love that bit that you do. And I don't.
Thank you, Aaron Ra.
Thank you, Aaron Ra. You repeated it enough. He got it down. I did not because numbers. But anyway, no, thank you. So yeah, Kent Hovind. One more time.
Inmate number 0645-2017.
God, I love that. Anyway, okay, so yeah, that guy. He is absolutely a shyster and a charlatan, and he is out there to get your money. And I don't think for a second that he believes that we live on a young Earth, or that he believes in young Earth creationism. I don't, or his little like fucking sand trap with the water in it and silt. I think he knows he's being a moron, and I think he's a narcissist. And I'm not a psychologist, but I've had some experience in real life with narcissists, and that is what he strikes me as. He strikes me as someone who thinks he's smarter than everybody, and he can make everybody believe all the dumb shit so that he can get their money. He
also doesn't flush the toilet.
Gross. What? Is he in a drought area? Is there a reason?
I know this for a fact because of a story, which I will tell here in a moment.
Okay. I'm just gonna
after the commercial break.
I'm gonna leap over that and just continue with now his son Eric, on the other hand. I don't agree with anything that Eric Hovind has to say. However, I've watched enough of him to where I found myself asking the question in my own mind and talking to this guy about it. Like, I think he seems so much more sincere than his father. Am I just not picking up on the grift, or is he a true believer? And I found myself coming down on the side of, I really think Eric is so indoctrinated that he's a true believer. But he's also doing everything bad that his dad did, which is making which is making money off of this, which is manipulating people in order to get their money. But I didn't think he realized it. And then I was talking to Godless Summer and Jen from Jen's Little Corner, and oh my word, Critical Cripple and Dave and Geo Sam today, after we were on Critical Cripple's quiz show this morning, which was so freaking cool. I was so excited that I got to do that. But I was talking to them about it afterwards, and they all agreed, and they had evidence. And Godless Scummer, like, you had really good evidence as to why that was not true, and it had to do with some supplements, some B12 supplements that Eric Hovind was selling as cancer cures, and basically the FDA I think you said that the FDA sent him a cease and desist. I haven't had a chance to look this up.
Oh, they did.
They did? Okay, great.
I think it was
you.
the FDA. It was a government agency that oversees something like that. I think
Yeah.
it was the FDA.
And so, well, it would be. And so so he was basically told, no, you can't say that swallowing vitamin B12 cures cancer, because it doesn't. You're an idiot. Stop it. And you're feeding people false medical information. So once I heard that, I had no more sympathy for Eric Hovind, because that's enough of a transgression in my book of morality, where people could die, because they believed that nonsense. And honestly, B12 vitamins are good for you, but you have to get the shot if you want them to do you any good, other than what you get from your diet. If you just swallow them, all that's going to do is just like make your urine like super yellow. So if you want to have like really bright yellow urine, buy all the B12 vitamins you want, but otherwise get a shot. That's
welcome, Robert.
Hey, Robert.
Hello.
You came in at a weird moment. That's the only way
this
those
why'd
help.
you wake me up in the middle of the night?
I'm so sorry.
You should mute your notifications, brother.
Yeah, I mean, thank you for coming.
It's lovely to have you here. Thank you, my friend.
Oh, what is Paul saying about someone wasn't drunk?
Oh, he's talking about the priest. Says he wasn't drunk. He
Okay.
was a friend of a friend. Once he knew I didn't believe, he just came out with it.
Oh.
I thought the same as we did. You've got to get set up for a guest. I could talk all day about it.
Oh my gosh, yes, sir. Yeah. No, we will.
We will figure that out at some point.
I want to hear this story from your face.
You've got stories, my friend, including that one.
Yeah. Seriously, Paul, we will figure that out ASAP, because I want to know. I want to know that story. That's amazing. Angie says, Robert.
Eric Hovind.
Eric needs to believe it so he cannot hate his father. Oh, Angie bringing the psych.
Yeah.
Yup. That would be the psychology.
And Godless Summer bringing the wrong button. Sorry, y'all.
That's okay. We all love Angie. She gets a shout out.
Eric Hovind was sent a cease and desist by the FDA for selling the so-called vitamin B17, actually amygdalin, as a cancer cure.
Oh, so not even B12? That's so weird.
And Stuttering Chris asks, don't multivitamins have B12 or some B vitamin? Yeah, they probably got plenty of them, but they don't cure motherfucking coronavirus.
Yeah, and that's the issue. And also, Chris, if you take a multivitamin, that's fine. That's good. That can be I take a multivitamin every day because I'm bad about eating enough fruits in particular. I eat a lot of vegetables. I love vegetables, but I'm just not a big fruit person. So and also citric acid gives me acid reflux. So I take a multivitamin, so I get my vitamin C, and all that good stuff, and iron, and it's fine. But with the B vitamins in particular, you really are doing yourself, they aren't going to do, and this was told to me by a doctor. Okay. So that's the only reason, but I'm not a doctor. So ask your doctor or your nutritionist what you need to do, please. But what a doctor told me was the oral B vitamins specifically, just the B vitamins, B12 to whatever, don't do anything for you because they pass right through your system. If you get a B12 shot, the injection, then that actually does boost your immune system, and that is helpful. So that's what a doctor told me. And my work, up until they had to, close down the office because of the pandemic, we had a shot nurse who came once a month and offered, B12 shots. So that was fantastic. Who just came in?
Brainbug.
Brainbug! Hey, man, how's the hive?
Robert X says he doesn't mind being woken up by it.
Aww, Robert.
Paul Camish points out, have you seen the one selling food buckets? It's hilarious. Yes, that's Jim Baker. That's the guy I was riffing on a second ago for telling you to drink a silver solution.
Yep.
It's the same
colloidal
guy.
Silver.
He's got some kind of dumbass miracle cure for everything from the nuclear apocalypse to the coronavirus. It's fucking ridiculous.
If you want to watch a really hilarious but also kind of gross video, search for the skating atheists doing a live stream with a Hovind, no, not Hovind, Jim Baker with a Baker bucket.
Yeah.
Baker bucket.
Oh
so
my god,
just
that was painful.
Oh god, it was hard to watch. Like
they ate the whole thing.
They did. One of their wives
on camera. It was terrifying.
One Eli's wife Anna was like running around. She was like, spit bucket, spit bucket. If you can't swallow it, there's a spit bucket right here. Don't throw up on my floor, please. Like it was rough. It was rough, but it was also really funny and really hilarious. They weren't disgusting. They were honestly trying to eat the food like it was normal food, but it's fucking gross. And that's what happened.
Robert X says, what is the cure for the Hovind family? Facts.
Facts. Birth control. Not to be too rude.
As if those worked. People have been barraging the Hovinds with facts for 30 years and it hadn't done a goddamn thing, so who knows?
Okay, then I reiterate, any Hovind women out there, please go see your doctor, get some birth control. Your husband doesn't have to know about it.
Birth control.
They can give you a shot, works for a month. They can give you the implant, works for like ever. They can give you an IUD, works for years. Do what you need to do, girl.
Because let's face it, ladies, do you really want to have Eric Hovind's baby?
And I mean, I get it. You know, he's sweet, but honey, he's dumb as a bag of hair.
Cute, but he's dumb. You don't want that level of dumb in your potty training curriculum.
No, you do not. This is not
You'll be cleaning the chandelier.
No. This is not a Cheerios and target practice situation, ladies. Just saying. All right. Okay, so moving away from that. That was a weird one. I liked it, though. That was fun. All right. Who is here?
Oh, shit. Paul says the police have arrived, and he'll be back in a minute.
Okay,
well,
love you.
Best of luck, Paul. I hope
you're in your home.
Yeah,
I hope.
we'll see you in a minute. Oh, he's parked in his car outside work.
Oh,
he said that at the beginning, and I forgot to shout him out. Yeah, he's out.
Oh, okay, guys. For those of you who don't know, Paul is in the UK, and they're under a really hardcore lockdown right now. So the police are most likely asking him, "Why are you here? Why aren't you in your home?" And he'll just explain, "I'm parked in my car outside work. I was listening to a thing.
Yeah,
and I didn't want to drive."
He works for like the road commission or something.
Yeah, he'll be fine.
Really irregular hours, so that'll be fine.
Yeah, he's not in any trouble. It's
okay. We caught Brain Bud.
What do you mean?
He says, I hang my antenna in shame that I wasn't already subscribed.
Oh,
Julie is awesome.
Thank you, Brain Bud.
As long as you fix that, you are forgiven.
Yes, absolutely. Te absolvo. You are forgiven. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I never took that. I have no idea if that's right or not.
Godless Scummer points out, Jim Baker has backed down on his silver solution because he was warned by the FDA. And he probably doesn't want to go back to jail.
Let's hope not. Thank you, Godless Scummer. Godless Scummer. Now, I did happen to know that about Jim Baker, but Godless Scummer is all over the American preachers and the FDA. Like, he's got that covered, man. And I got to, and as someone from another country, I salute you, dude. Thank you so much for having all that. All right, so.
Maya points out, hit that like button. Yes, please.
Oh, yes,
if
please.
you would be so kind, it helps immensely.
Please do. I'm going to stop whinging about this very soon, because this is just the first week and everything's okay. And I got my last paycheck and we got our tax return because we filed our taxes. And so everything's cool. We're all right for right now. And I think we're going to be okay. But I'm on at least a 90-day furlough. And depending on how long this pandemic goes on, it might be longer than that. I do get unemployment. It's U.S. unemployment. So it's not anywhere near 80% of my salary like y'all in some other places with sensible systems get. But you know, it is a thing. And so yeah, I really appreciate the likes and because I might, depending on how this goes, I might have to set up a Patreon. I don't want to do that that was never my goal with this. This was my sort of screaming into the void, keeping myself sane hobby thing. But it might become a more necessary thing. I don't know. So I'm hoping it doesn't get to that, and I'm going to stop whinging and begging as of now. But as of right now, if at the very least you could do is subscribe and share and like, that costs you nothing. That costs you absolutely nothing. So please do that. And thank you very much. And I'll stop now. Okay.
Robert
No,
says he
hit the
wants
like
to press it
button.
more times.
Aw. Well, that's always a good idea, Robert.
Well,
unless she says stop, and then you need to stop.
As long as you press the button an even number of times, we will accept that.
I can make it as well.
Not on YouTube.
Okay. So, all right. So our question is, are Christians lying? So no, I think we've all come, let me know if I'm going against the consensus here, but I think we've come down on the side of individual Christians are not lying, but some clergy very well are. And
I would submit that some individual non-clergy Christians are to themselves.
For sure. Yeah.
I mean, that's a hard thing to say or to qualify or to quantify.
It is.
But you just gotta know there's some people out there who are like I was for years upon years, just straight up going through the motions.
Yup.
Who would say, I believe in God, the Father Almighty, creator of heaven and earth, and his only Son, Christ Jesus our Lord, who was conceived by the Holy Spirit, born of the Virgin Mary, yada, 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 suffered under Pontius Pilate, was crucified, dead, and buried, and so forth and so on. But,
wow, there's slight differences in the Catholic and Protestant versions that trip me up. Go ahead.
Yeah. But
I no longer reject Satan.
Yeah. Nor all his works, nor all his pomps.
Yes.
Give me them works and them pomps, baby.
Right on. Hell, Satan.
Do all them works and them pomps and pomps as soon as we get off the camera.
I love you. To be very clear, I want to make it very clear that we don't believe in Satan, but we do very much believe in the Satanic Temple and all of the good work they do in keeping in America. In the United States of America, rather. There's also Canada and Mexico and North America, so let's not be confusing. But in the United States, all the good work they do of keeping the Second Amendment, no, the First Amendment, my God, I'm sorry, I meant the...
the church may care about the Second Amendment, but not so much as the first.
I meant the clause.
Separation of churches.
Yeah, I meant the clause. Yeah, separation of church and state. Yeah, so sorry about that. It is.
Oh, Godless Scummer says he just sent you a Kent Hovind meme to check your DMs.
I will. Oh my word.
And Paul says it's funny. He's actually in a lay-by. They were just checking. I'm doing okay. That's
cool. Yeah. Oh, thank goodness. Good.
I'm glad all's okay.
And I'm also glad that they're doing their job because we need more of that here. And brain bug, hail Satan for sure. Yeah. Right on, man.
Stuttering Chris says, why is Satanism a much friendlier values than every other religion? Because it's based in humanism.
Yes.
Read the 7 tenets of Satanism, and it's everything you've always wanted everyone else to treat you with.
Yo.
It's the ways in which you have always wanted everyone else to treat you.
In fact, you know what?
Infallibly.
We're just going to do that right now.
And then Stuttering Chris says, hail Satin.
Hail Satin. Oh my gosh. Okay, so do you remember the story?
I can agree with Chris on this. Hail Satin.
Do you remember the story about my friend's grandma?
I do not. So
okay, so my friend's
sounds like a good time.
My friend's grandmother bought she is may she rest in peace or what have you. She is she's been dead a while, but when she was still living in the city, she was living in a house that when she and her husband bought it, it was a pretty good neighborhood, like you do. And then later on, it became not so great a neighborhood, which happens in a lot of metropolitan areas. And but it was her house. It was paid off, and she was a widow, and by God, she would not let him go with that house, right? So one day she came outside, and there were three. And normally I would not make assumptions like this, but as it was told to me, three young men with very obvious gang tattoos and also with guns tucked into the back of their pants, sitting on her front porch. And she came out and said, excuse me, can I help you?
Can I help you?
Yeah, and they turned around and they were like, what? And she said, this is my house. Unless you have business here, you need to get off my porch and go away. And they like said some mean things and got up in a huff and wandered away. Well, the next morning she woke up and her garage door having been graffitied with very poorly done stars that kind of sort of looked like pentagrams, and the words "Hail Satin" in big red letters, SATIN, because gangbangers can't read apparently. So
okay, that may be enough of that.
That's enough of that.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm just saying, like, if you spend all your time ditching school and banging, maybe you need to go back and read a little. That's all I'm suggesting. If you want to scare an old lady, learn how to fucking spell. That's my point. Okay. All right. So I'm going to look up the 7 tenets of the search of the Satanic Temple right now. And you talk while I do this because I'm looking at something else.
While we search and while we troll through the archive.
They've all found it by now.
Yeah,
I'm so slow.
Let's see. Paul says the police are very friendly over here. I envy you, my friend.
Well, I always see you, Paul. I envy you.
Let's see. Paul also says he's at work, the job's finished, so he was just sat in his car in a lay-by. Was going home, but Julie's show started.
Oh,
so he
thank
stopped
you, Paul. I'm sorry that I upset your policeman.
Starring Chris points out it takes grammar to scare an old lady.
It does. That's the thing. It's like when she walked out and saw Hail Satin, she laughed her ass off.
I'm sure she
Because it was funny. Okay, so there are 7 fundamental tenets for the Satanic Temple. And this is the one that's run by, at the moment, Lucian Greaves. Very cool guy. If you've seen the documentary Hail Satan, very good. Strongly recommend it. Okay, so number 1. One should strive to act with compassion and empathy toward all creatures in accordance with reason. Love that.
Agreed.
Love the in accordance with reason clause as well. That's, agreed. The struggle for justice is an ongoing and necessary pursuit that should prevail over laws and institutions. Yeah.
Agreed.
Agreed, because
we should not have made this a drinking game.
I don't care. Because if they didn't have that should prevail over laws and institutions, we couldn't have had the civil rights movement in this country. And
fucking Stonewall.
Or Stonewall, thank you. Or so many labor movements over in the UK, and just so many things.
You good, godless scummer. Don't worry about it.
Oh, we love you, godless scummer. Okay, number 3. One's body is inviolable, subject to one's own will alone. Thank you very fucking much.
Preach.
Yeah. I have a note from my Satanist. I'm entitled to an abortion if I have an unwanted pregnancy. Okay. Number 4. The freedoms of others should be respected, including the freedom to offend. That's a great point, because I heard
that's one of my favorites.
It is one of my favorite. I heard an Englishman say once that offense is taken; it's not given. And I can see that. Like, I mean, you can absolutely go out of your way to try and be hateful to someone and try and say something that you know is going to upset them on purpose. But generally speaking, offense absolutely is taken and not given. And as a bullied kid, I learned to not take offense. It's like, oh, what? You want to call me fat? Fine, I'm fucking fat. I don't care. And the second you tell a kid that, they can't make fun of you anymore because you've owned who you are. So it doesn't matter. All right. So anyway, that was just an example. And yeah, it's fine. Okay. So, all right. Okay. So the freedoms of others should be respected, including the freedom to offend. To willfully and unjustly encroach upon the freedoms of another is to forego one's own. And I love that part of the fourth tenet because it's kind of like how our civil rights work in this country. It's like I have freedom of expression to the point where my fist hits his nose.
Yeah.
And at that point, my freedom of expression ends because I have assaulted him. So that's how that reads to me. Like to willfully and unjustly encroach upon the freedoms of another is to forego one's own. And so I give up my freedom the moment I encroach upon another person's. Number 5, belief should conform to one's best scientific understanding of the world. One should take care never to distort scientific facts to fit one's beliefs. Yes. You are entitled to your own beliefs. Ladies and gentlemen, you are not entitled to your... Oh, I'm out. You are not entitled to your own facts. You can drink. It's okay.
I'm about to fetch you a refill.
Oh my God, you are the best husband ever. Guys, best husband ever. Give it up a little bit in the chat for this man. Okay. Yeah, so absolutely. Gosh, I wish I'd written this. I wish I could claim, but I did not. I had nothing to do with it. It's just so great. So one should take care never to distort scientific facts to fit one's beliefs. That's right. We alter our beliefs when we learn new things. That's how that works. Okay, number 6. People are fallible. If one makes a mistake, one should do one's best to rectify it and resolve any harm that might have been caused. Again, very humanist. It seems like, hey, treat other people the way you want to be treated. Kill them with kindness. This is the kind of stuff our moms teach it. Teach it? I just said teach it. These are the kinds of things our mothers taught us, and they were right. So yeah. So people are fallible. If one makes a mistake, one should do one's best to rectify it and resolve any harm that might have been caused. Number 7, and the last tenet, every tenet is a guiding principle designed to inspire nobility to action and thought. Ooh, good word choice. That's hot. The spirit of compassion, wisdom, and justice should always prevail over the written or spoken word. Oh, I like that. And they're using spirit in the sense that, you know, the founding fathers might have used it, you know, the sense of, it's like when we talk about the letter of the law going against the spirit of the law. Yeah, it's that kind of spirit. They're not talking about like a mystical, magical spirit. Oh gosh, I love that so much. So yeah, if those are way better, and frankly, I'm now considering a new tattoo. But yes, those are so much better than the 10 Commandments, most of which can be whittled down to don't offend this one Babylonian god who some folks decided was going to be their main god. Yeah. Okay, your turn. Where are we? Oh, what were we toasting when I ran out?
Oh, we were toasting the various tenets of the Satanic
Yes,
Temple.
we were. Okay, so 2 of the tenets of the Satanic Temple, better than the 10 Commandments. Hail Satan. All right. What is Miss Angie saying? Oh, your man refilled your soda earlier. That is amazing. That is also loving and kind. Robert X is feeling offended. Should be an Olympic sport. So many people are good at. Wait, what is? I took that out of context. I'm sorry.
No, he said feeling offended should be an Olympic sport.
Oh,
so many people are good at it.
Nice one, Robert X. Very good. Okay. Godless Scummer agreed. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. That was Robert X agreeing. You're better at this bit than I am.
Sorry, this one from Godless Scummer brings up somebody that brings up EOT, who we all know, and quite honestly, somebody else who I don't, and so don't feel qualified to pass judgment on or make a joke about. So I'm going to leave that off the screen. I get the gist of it, but I'm not going to pull it up.
And frankly,
I mean, I get what you're saying, because I know the kind of world you're talking about.
I will say this much: Godless Scummer, when it comes to EOT, I agree with you. The other person I'll have to look up.
Godless Scummer points out, worth mentioning for the benefit of any Christians watching, in the 50th minute, that most Satanists don't actually believe that Satan's an actual being and don't actually worship Satan.
No, they do not.
There's an immense difference between Satanists and devil worshippers.
Yes,
of which there are not as many as there were once upon a long ago.
It's weird, if any. I don't know.
If there are any, that's true.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm not sure of any outside of the main cast of the old 80s band Black Widow.
Yeah, I mean, it's honestly, it's more of a horror movie trope than a reality. Members of the Satanic Temple, for example, they're atheists. But what I love about them is that they've managed to beat religion at their own game.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about them. And that's, when they became a recognized religion and therefore were protected under the same rules and not taxed and all of that stuff that we fight out and get upset about. They were like, okay, you want to put up a nativity on the courthouse lawn? That's cool. Can we put up our Baphomet statue with, the horned goat god with the two children looking up at him adoringly? Is that cool? And then everybody's like, nope, no one has any religious stuff on the courthouse. It's fine. No religious things. Which is so great.
Brainbug points out that he doesn't think there ever were many serious devil worshippers, just mislabeled pagans.
Oh, I think so too. Yeah, having been
that's probably a good point. And,
yeah.
And Godless Scummer says much the same thing. There's a few theistic Satanists around, but they're normally into the black metal and the LARPing.
Yeah, and honestly,
I hate to paint with too broad a brush there, because I know there's a handful of actual. But yeah, I understand.
Yeah, but
and agree with what you're saying. I just know there's like this tiny little handful of folks scattered around who will not be watching either of our channels. Let's be fair.
Likely not.
But yeah, I know there's a handful of actual devil worshipping Satanists out there, and I don't want to gloss over them like they're not actually.
No, they're entitled to whatever, because frankly they're not causing any problems.
Y'all know us at this point. We're all about the minorities.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, like of
any kind.
I'm a former neo-pagan, so hence the horned one tattoo. Which, by the way, this guy Hearn, Cernunnos, and also Pan from the Greek pantheon. That's where we get the word horny from. Yeah, not bad. And eyebrows. And it's he was a fertility god. Nothing wrong with that. And that is where a lot. Well, I shouldn't say a lot, because I can't at this point. I can't cite my sources anymore because it's been so long since I was a practicing neo-pagan. I used to be able to tell you, oh, you can look in this book, and this book, but a lot of there are scholars who think that that's where the idea of like the horned devil came from. The Satan that folks think of, because it frankly not in the Bible that much. At all.
There's no description of the adversary.
Yeah. Physically. No, thank you. Yeah, that's very true. Like you go to the book of Job, which is one of the oldest. The only thing we have of that is from the book of Revelation, which is so batshit anyway that it's like a badass.
Why would you take any of that as a literal description of anything? I
say it's like a bad acid trip. I've never done acid, and at this point,
oh my gosh! Hey, Chris!
Hey, Chris! Oh my gosh!
Welcome, you middle of the nighting, Chris.
What are you doing? You're up so late. It's past your bedtime. We're so glad to see you.
Brainbug says he has a pentagram tattoo left over from his witchy days.
Oh my gosh! I always wanted one, and I didn't get around to getting it done, and then I lost my faith. So yeah, it happens. Or I should say I gained clarity. We need a better word. We need a better term for losing one's faith. Like, it's not really a loss.
Yeah, it's not.
It's
like,
not
a loss.
Oh,
so much
there's all
as,
this shit I don't believe in anymore. I can just live now. It's a gain. It's kind of like losing one's virginity. You're not losing anything. You're gaining experience. This is all good unless it happens against your will, and then it's not good.
I don't know that I like that comparison.
Okay, why not? Fair. I love it when we disagree.
Because
it happens so rarely.
Because faith. Let me start that sentence over.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that I like that comparison because virginity, whether or not you're willing to linguistically grant that as being a thing, is something.
Ooh, that's a whole other discussion. Yeah, you're right.
Is something with which you are born. It is a state that is with you congenitally.
Yes. Yes.
Faith is something that is early on foisted upon you. By,
if you're indoctrinated, yes it is.
By either well-meaning or not, elders, family members, what have you. And I don't think one's separation from the one can be fairly compared with one's separation from the other. When I, like, for the sake of example, when I lost my faith, it was one of the most freeing experiences of my life.
Yeah.
Whereas when I lost my virginity,
also incredibly freeing.
I
might have had different experiences.
We did indeed. I felt absolutely fuck all. I kept expecting to feel something.
Well,
I kept feeling societally pressured to feel something.
Yes.
But in reality, I felt, well, that was a thing that happened last night. Okay. Yeah. Whereas my having been freed from faith was a degree of liberation and of fuck you all that can really only be rivaled by the first time I shaved my head.
Okay.
It was dramatic.
Yeah.
For me, although less visible, obviously, for the faith than for the shaving.
I'm gonna give you that because honestly, a thing, I told a very close, girlfriend. I'm bisexual, but I lost my the first time I had sex was with a man. Very lovely man. He was lovely. We're good friends to this day. It's awesome. So I did tell a good friend the next morning, and she said, "Do you feel any different?" And I was like, it was almost like this question does not compute because on one level, I felt kind of triumphant in a weird way. Like I'd finally passed this fucking benchmark that I was so sick of. I was like, because my whole thing, please remember, y'all, be kind in the chat on this. I was raised Catholic. I didn't date seriously in high school because the whole point of dating was to find a husband. And even though I stopped being a Christian at 17, that was the part that stuck with me. But the part that didn't stick with me was that I wanted to be really good. I believed in soulmates. I believed in true love, which is all silly, but I did. And well, the soulmate thing is silly.
Yeah.
And I did believe in that, and I wanted to know what the fuck I was doing when I met that person. That was my goal there. So, like, it was about pleasure, but it was also about developing skill, right? So when she asked me, if I felt anything, I was like, I'm still fucking me. That hasn't changed. But I also did feel this huge rush of happiness. And I do remember desperately wanting to tell my mother because I'd had this great experience, this great life experience, and I was still living at home, and I just wanted to, I wanted to tell my mom, because when great things happen, you want to tell your mom, if you're lucky enough to have one, that's what I wanted, and I knew it would break her heart, and I couldn't tell her. So that was the worst part about it for me, was that I couldn't share it with my mom. But the rest of it was great. I mean, it wasn't bad sex. It was good sex, which is very nice. Thank you to that person, and you know who you are, because I've had bad sex, and that's rough. But also, like, it was it was really lovely, and he was lovely, and it was a great experience, and it helped me. And that was like a great stepping stone for like how to build on that and how to understand, like, what's good communication in bed, what's good, because, he listened to me, and I didn't even know that was a thing, that you could even, I was a hello virgin, what the fuck do you know, the first time. So it was lovely that I was like, oh, I don't know. And he was like, do you want to try being on top? And I was like, yes. Okay, fantastic. And that was great. I'm sorry if this is TMI for anyone. That's it. That's all I'm going to say about it. But it was, it was great that we could communicate like that, and it did teach me the value of communication. So, okay, so are Christians lying? That was the point of the video, not how I lost my virginity.
We covered that, and we've since rambled on in several different topics.
I don't know that we've completely covered it, though.
Which we do.
I don't know.
Stuttering Chris asks, what does born again virgin mean, though?
Oh, God damn it. Okay,
Christopher, that is some purity culture,
I can tell you
bullshit.
No, I can tell him from experience, not my own, but I can tell him what that means. Okay, here's the thing. Christopher, when I was in sex ed, which, let's face it, I went to public school in Tennessee. It was not sex ed. We had abstinence only sex ed. We didn't even learn how to put a condom on a fucking banana. Okay, we did not learn shit. It was, my accent is getting thicker as I talk about this. I know, I'm sorry.
Think that accent comes
oh
out
my God.
as mine is.
Godless Scummer, are you still on here? Can you hear this shit? Okay, so
oh yeah, he says his condolences on being raised Catholic.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Sounds like voice of experience.
It does, and it was rough.
I'm sorry if it's not.
No, he's COD, but or he was raised COD. At least that's what I got. That's what I got from our Godless Scummer. If I'm wrong, I apologize. That's what I got from our earlier discussion, that you talked about primary school and COD stuff. So, or COE, Church of England. I said COD. That's like a deposit thing. Anyway, point is, Chris.
COE. That's softcore Catholics.
COE are pretty cool, actually. Yeah, they're pretty cool. Okay, so I'm gonna go. Okay, so here's where I'm gonna go. So Chris asked specifically born again virgins. Okay, what that is your virginity. What they tell you when you're taking an abstinence only course is they tell you there's this bit in it about, like, well, I've already fucked, right? Except they don't say that. They say, well, you know how they say it's that gift you can only give once? Well, I've already given it. And it's like usually a little cartoon chick with a balloon over her head saying this, right? And another chick says to her, well, I did too, but then I became born again and I love Jesus now, so I'm going to wait to do that again until I'm married, so you can choose secondary virginity. That's okay. No, by the way, y'all, that's not a thing. And if people,
and there are also subcultures in
argument.
which secondary virginity means something entirely different.
It does indeed. Yeah.
Be sure you know your room before you speak.
For sure. And I would also say this. I would also say that if you were ever, if your first sexual experience was was against your will in any way, I'm sorry. I'm not going to go into great detail here. No. And luckily that didn't happen to either of us. And I'm so grateful for that. But it's just luck. It's fucking luck. But if that happened, then I would say to you that you gained that experience. You lost your virginity when you took control of your own sex life and did that of your own free will, with someone who you wanted to do that with. But beyond that, the born again secondary virginity shit is bullshit. It's just it's a way of making kids who because by the way, when I was taught abstinence only sex ed, I was a senior in high school.
Sweet Jesus.
They were a year late, and I didn't give a fuck anyway because I'd
more
already
than that for most people.
Yeah, more than that for a lot of folks. Like my Catholic upbringing is probably the only reason I was still a virgin at that point, back when I was a junior. But yeah, I mean, it was crazy. They were a year late, and on top of that, like I had no judgment like for that other than like, are you using a condom? Because it was the 90s and we were all terrified of catching HIV.
Or who among us can be proud of the amount of judgment we displayed when we were in high school?
Fair, very fair. Yeah. Yeah, so Chris, to answer your question, born again secondary virginity is bullshit. It's meant to guilt young people into not fucking if they already have, and to help the ones who haven't feel superior so they don't fuck. That's all it is. And sorry to put it so baldly. Actually, no, I'm not.
You put it as baldly as you did. I'm going to put it even more baldly. And to attempt to traumatize the people who have and guilt them into not doing it again.
Oh, God.
The amount of shame. I can only speak for Protestant churches in the South of the United States of America, but the amount of social stigma and shame that is brought by your average peer, let alone authority figures, your average peer, against a non-chaste member of the flock can be extravagant and extreme.
And vile.
And toxic and damaging.
And abusive. Yeah, agreed. Yeah. And thank you. So, you know,
no one can be cruel like children can be cruel, and no matter what anyone says, if you're under the age of majority, you are children.
Yes.
And the most cruel people in the entire world are those people who are so close to adulthood they can smell it, but aren't yet.
Yeah. Because
15 to 18, the cruelty drive kicks into overdrive, and those people are vicious. I was one. I am ashamed of it.
Me too. And it's because we're largely still parroting the teachings of our parents.
Passed down to us.
Yes, absolutely.
By hopefully genuine people who... Wow, that wrapped right back around.
It wrapped around.
Who hopefully were not telling us lies.
Yeah, and so that's what I want to say too about.
Poor Christopher was not ready for that.
Oh, okay, buddy. What's
Angie's hitting the sack. Good night, love from Texas. Thank you, Angie.
Oh, love you, darling.
We won't be here too much longer, but thank you so much for joining.
Thank you. And Chris, what did we say that was so upsetting, honey? Well, we can clarify. I'm sorry. Well, no, I'm not sorry for what I said because it was all true. That's what happened. But my entire sex ed class was pet your dog, not your date. If you can believe that shit. And I actually have respect for my teacher. I didn't for a long time because she would just go, she'd give us our workbooks and go back to the room and sit at her desk and grade other work. And I thought she didn't give a shit about us. I realized much later, after she passed away, that she was protesting. Teaching that bullshit because she would not teach it to us. I had other teachers who weren't my sex ed abstinence only teachers who would say things like, don't you want to be a virgin on your wedding night so you know that your husband is just the best lover in the world? And I remember thinking very clearly, but not saying it in class, not if it's not true. And also chemistry is a thing.
Yep.
Yeah. Like I've made out with some guys that I really liked, genuinely liked as human beings. Almost threw up in a guy's mouth once. Like, we should not have been making out. To this day, I find him to be an absolutely lovely human being.
Pheromone theory gets a lot of shit, but it is real, y'all.
Chemistry is real. That's right. All right. So, yeah, I am. Yeah, I'm so sorry if we disturbed you, Chris. Yeah, we're older and we're raised hopefully in different times. I hope you had decent sex ed. I really do. If not, there's a lot of good stuff. Frankly, ex-cult baby and Unholy Sarah did a great sex ed video.
Yeah, just like, well, gosh, that was
it was a while ago,
2 years ago now, but they did a fantastic.
Yeah, it's great.
Things I wish I'd learned in sex ed.
Yeah,
video that was fantastic.
It's
and they
so
did
good
on each of their channels.
They did, and then yeah, it's
and if
fantastic.
You're not subscribed to either Ex-Cult Baby or Unholy Sarah, you need to be immediately, if not sooner.
For sure, they're both fantastic, and they're both my unofficially adopted nieces. So show them some love. Like, they're amazing. And don't tell my other nieces that. I don't know how they feel about it. Anyway. But
poor Robert's cussing at his keyboard. I feel you, brother. I had a broken space bar for I don't know how long, and it is a bitch.
That's the worst. Oh, sorry, man.
God, the Scummer says both great channels. Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. Good.
We do try. Okay, so to bring it back to,
I think he's talking about Ex-Cult and Sarah. But,
they are.
But I hope we are good channels as well.
Fuck. Sorry, that was being very selfish. Yes, no, Ex-Cult Baby and Unholy Sarah are great channels. Yay!
We've been running an hour and a quarter.
I gotta bring it around.
No. Feel free, of course.
So
I just noticed the clock. I'm sorry.
No, we're gonna stop here in a second. Don't worry. Oh, I know. I love you. You're lovely. Okay. No, I'm not shutting him down. We're gonna stop in a sec. But this is a southern stop where I'm telling you, yeah, I'm leaving, but then it's gonna take me a minute to get out the door. So here's the thing. To bring it around to Christians aren't lying. I know for a damn fact that my parents believe to their core all the crazy shit they believe in. They are hardcore Roman Catholics and they believe it. They are liberal in some ways and that they're anti-death penalty. They are incredibly conservative in other ways, and that they I don't know, depending on when you catch them literally in time. Like, I can go back in time and have conversations with them where they were like, I can't agree with abortion on principle, but it should be legal, all the way to it shouldn't be legal, all the way to it should probably be legal just to avoid women dying. I don't know. They've gone through all of that. But as far as having me baptized, having me go through the sacraments, having me go through the fucking religious trauma that is the Catholic fucking church, especially if you're not perfectly cishet and willing to have babies for Jesus, which I was not, or willing to be celibate and clergy, which I was not, or willing to be celibate and single, which I was not. Those were the only 3 life paths allowed, by the way. For a woman in that situation. It's, they absolutely believed they were saving my eternal soul. And I know that. And I know that because every time I woke up in a hospital as a child, one of them was next to my bed. I never woke up alone. And they had 3 other kids to deal with. but they worked it out. Like and I almost died a couple more than a couple of times on them, and I can literally I can cite moments when both of them, each of them on their own, saved my life. I am here right now because my parents loved me so much. So raising me in their religion was an extension of that love, which is why at this point, we had the "I'm not a Christian, I'm a neo-pagan" conversation back when I was in my 20s. We had it more than once. At this point in my life, I'm 42. They're 77. They were born in the same year. That's why they're the same age. They're 77. I'm not willing to say, hey, I don't believe in God at all. Because it's just, all it's going to do is hurt them. And I don't see the point. My siblings know. My aunts know. I'm out on Twitter. I'm out on YouTube. So at some point, other people in their lives are going to know. But I don't see the point in putting them through that at all. And if you disagree, that's fine. Please let me know in the comments. So it's just weird. So what is ugh, buffer? Oh, sorry, brain bug.
It's that time of night, y'all.
Yeah, we might have to wrap it up. But all right. So yeah, some Christians are lying. Some Christians aren't, I think, is where we've come down on this.
I think so.
Yeah. I think it depends on the individual. Anybody asking you?
Amicable detente on that issue.
We have a nice tete-a-tete that we had tonight. Any of you who have, basically, if they aren't asking you for money, they're probably being fairly straight with you, regardless of what weird ass spiritual beliefs they might have. Otherwise, I'd be cautious. So yeah, that's where we came down on that. Anything you'd like to add?
No, I think that's the consensus of the stream.
All right.
I had a great time.
I did too. I love you.
I love you too.
Good. Okay, so give your tagline.
All right. Well, everybody, as old Junk Shop always says, take care, be safe, and stand against hate.
And as I always say, you won't find truth in wine, but you can find it in reason. Love from Memphis, y'all.